Hi, this is Jay. Welcome to my channel. Today I thought I'd go over the top reasons why I really enjoy backpacking in the wintertime, especially starting a thru hike. So come back after the intro. I'm out here in Emden, Germany. I'm walking around. Back there is actually a four-way lock. It's actually pretty kind of wild. There's a canal that goes across and the water level is significantly higher, maybe 9-10 feet higher than the other, and locks actually just manage the water so someone could actually go through the lower canal when it lowers the water. It's pretty interesting. I've never seen anything like a four-way lock before. But today I'm taking a walk outside to film this because I wanted to basically go over my top 10 reasons why I love backpacking in the winter, and I'm really looking forward to starting the AT on around February 1st when it's nice and cold. And I always laugh on the Facebook forums when people are saying, oh, you're gonna freeze, you're gonna freeze. It's a possibility if you don't know what you're doing, but if you have the experience and you know what you need to do to keep yourself warm, it's actually super nice backpacking in the winter. My number one reason kind of has three parts to it, so I'll go over all three, and it all comes down to just the lack of light. If I start February 1st, between sunset and sunrise is 13 and a half hours. That's a lot of darkness. If you counter in 30 minutes after sunset where it's still a little bright and everything, that's still quite a bit of sun darkness. On April 1st, at Emclolo Falls, the amount of time between sunset and sunrise is 11 and a half hours. So you actually get 2 hours more darkness. And the reason I think that's great for a beginning of a thru hike is oftentimes when you hike, you kind of hike when it's bright. When it's bright, you feel more awake and you feel like you should be doing something in your hike. And if you only have 10 and a half hours of hiking time, you're just not going to do as many miles. There's less chance of getting injured because somehow in your mind you feel like you should keep moving. It's just an easier start when you're thru hiking. The other advantage of the less sunlight is you get more sleep. I mean, you could sleep. I remember on the Arizona Trail, I started February 17th. I think I slept like 10 hours a day minimum the first few weeks, and it's great. That's one of the things I look forward to, is you're tired, you're warm again, and you just sleep, and you can just sleep the whole night away, and it's quite refreshing, especially again when you're starting a thru hike and you need to let your body heal. That sleep is wonderful. And the third part of that is because there's less sun, you can actually stay up, watch the whole sunset, even a half hour after sunset time, go to sleep 10 hours, wake up, and you could still catch the sunrise in the morning. You just have so much time to enjoy those things. In the middle of summer, I don't know how many times you just fall asleep before sunset or you wake up after sunrise because you have so little darkness that you might get 8 hours of sleep if you catch one or the other, and it's just not good recovery time. The fourth reason I love hiking in winter is it's just so quiet. There are less people out there, and the snow dampens the sound. I don't know if you've gone hiking in the winter, but it's just so much quieter. Maybe it's because all the birds are asleep or migrated away, but it's just incredibly quiet. Less people, the snow absorbs from the car sounds you hear in the background. Just a really peaceful experience. If you enjoy the peace of nature, I think winter hiking is the best season for really, really peaceful hiking. Fourth reason I enjoy hiking in the winter is I love that you can see all the wildlife. Now, there's not going to be as much wildlife as during the spring and whatnot, but all the brush, all the leaves are going to be gone. So when they run in the bushes, it just branches and you can actually see them a lot easier. So you see them, and most importantly, you see their tracks everywhere. I love it when it snows overnight and you head out and you're the first person out there and you could just see fresh animal tracks crisscrossing everywhere. I love like following rabbit tracks down the trail. I always get kind of disappointed when they meander off, but you have to keep on the trail. But It's just amazing like how much more wildlife you see when you think there isn't, just because the snow records every event that happens there. Fifth reason I love backpacking in the winter is, of course, no bugs. There are no mosquitoes, no biting flies, no gnats, no ticks. There's almost nothing. I don't know if there is anything that flies around in wintertime. Sometimes you get mosquitoes even when it's kind of cold, but for the most part, they're all gone. And it just, again, super peaceful. When you're sleeping in your tent in the winter, you can actually open your screen somewhat, and that helps with the ventilation because there are no bugs. So you can tarp tent in the winter because no bugs, and you just don't get bit. It's a great experience. Especially nice because if you just have your face exposed, you don't want your face getting bit in the nighttime. But it's pretty nice. It sure beats like when you have to run like crazy to get away from the mosquitoes, or like having to pee while you walk, because if you stop even for 20-30 seconds, the mosquitoes will eat you up. It's no fun, but great with no bugs. The seventh reason I enjoy backpacking in the winter is when you see other people out there, you know they're just as crazy as you. And I don't know if you've heard the idea of shared misery, but people that are miserable together, it's just so much easier to laugh about the misery and you just understand each other. So it's kind of nice when you're out there and you see other people that are just as crazy as you, and it's especially nice meeting those people, more so than just like sane people, I guess. So I don't know how to say it, but without sounding too crazy, but it's just a nice feeling when you bump into other people. You're like, why is anybody out here? Who's crazy enough to be out here? But there are people out there, and that's always fun. The eighth reason I enjoy backpacking in the winter is when you get into town and you take that hot shower or that hot meal. There's nothing like it. It's the most amazing thing you can ever feel. If you've been backpacking for long trips and then you get to town and you get that hot meal, or you get home and you take that shower and it's amazing, just wait till you let yourself just freeze a bunch for several days and then take that shower, and it's just like inversely proportional to how miserable the conditions are when you're out there. So it's totally worth it to make yourself super miserable to super enjoy those good times. It just makes you appreciate the good things a lot more than you would if you were just comfortable. The ninth reason I enjoy backpacking in the winter is, well, everything just beautiful. When you see like the Sierra, if you've seen videos of it and you see it just gray rock everywhere, it's okay, it's kind of cool, but it's not nearly as cool when there are just huge patches of ice and fields of ice. When you see hiking videos, like I loved going up to Muir Pass because you just see little people walking up a huge side of a snow mountain, and that to me is much cooler than people walking up like a little trail on a big gray mountainside. I just love seeing snow. The only catch is if there's enough snow to make the mountains really beautiful, the conditions are hard to camp necessarily, so it's a little harder, but I think snow just makes everything look so much nicer. And I've seen AT videos where people started in January, February, and I gotta say the snow makes everything look amazing too. Like there's that period between winter and spring where there aren't any leaves, but there's no snow, and all the trees are just barren and brown. But if you get some snow on all those branches, it's beautiful. And once that melts, you just get that brown, and it's not as beautiful until the leaves start blooming. So I'm looking forward to seeing a ton of snow like on all the rhododendrons, and just can't wait. And the last reason I really enjoy backpacking in the winter is, well, it sounds simple and it's just like an extreme optimist point of view, but your water's always cold. You're never gonna have tepid or warm water. It's always gonna be cool and refreshing all the time, especially in the mornings. I mean, even in the afternoons, your water will still be cool enough that if the weather warms up, you still have nice cool water. All the water sources are gonna be cold, so when you fill up, they're always gonna be cold. Every time you drink water, it's gonna be cold. Some people will hate that in the winter time, but I really enjoy having a nice cold drink every time I drink that water. It sure beats super warm, like body temperature water you scoop out of the little puddles on Arizona Trail. So that is my rundown for all the reasons I like backpacking in the winter. Now, just because you heard this, don't assume that you'll enjoy it because of the same reasons. You should always go out and experience the cold temperature yourself, just so you could see what you need. The biggest bit of advice for people that will be hiking in February and January, there's a lot of new backpackers out there, is to not just go on shakedown hikes, but go on multi-day shakedown hikes and figure out what you need from what people are telling you that you need. I see crazy winter gears, like I don't know how much clothes people are taking, but it seems like a lot of weight in clothes. So there's always what people tell you you should take and what you should take, because every body is different. You may be warmer, you don't need some items that people say you definitely will need, otherwise you'll die. I found I don't need base layers at all. I wore base layers twice in all my winter backpacking and I was sweating. It was no good for me. I usually don't sleep with socks the whole Arizona Trail. Most mornings it was freezing temperatures, but I didn't wear socks the entire Arizona Trail. In fact, most nights I stick my feet out the quilt because I like them nice and cool. Kind of ices them out like after the end of each day. But you need to go experience it yourself so you know what you need and what you don't need, so you don't wind up carrying a whole bunch of stuff and then winding up sending it home. Or even worse, you wind up getting on a trail carrying a whole bunch of stuff and then the weather's okay and then you send it home, and once the weather gets bad you realize you really needed that stuff after all. So I definitely go get the experience, and if you have enough experience and you know what you need, you can reduce your weight and you can enjoy yourself and enjoy the winter like I do. I mean, granted, also, I do like to see on the bright side of things. So there are a lot of cons to backpacking in winter. So don't forget those, namely being super cold all the time. But take care of yourself and enjoy the winter backpacking that's coming up these next few months. I guess it's pretty cold in the US already. Here it's a little over freezing, but anyway, if you have any other things you like about backpacking in the winter or hiking in the winter as well, just feel free to list in the comments below. I like to hear from all of you, and I will talk to you later. Bye. One other thing I should mention is just because it's for me doesn't necessarily mean that you will enjoy it as well. Despite all the nice things, you may go out there and experience those and still just hate the cold. Like my girlfriend Tina, she does not like being cold and wet at all, and she would never start the AT in February. Maybe April for her, mid-April, but definitely not February or March. So it's not for everyone, but it is for some people, so you'll have to find out for yourself. Here's one of the places the two canals meet, and you can see the water level up here and you can see the water level down there. It's at least a good 3 meters, 9 feet, 8 feet, maybe 10 further down. What's crazy is there's all these houses right there. You'd think if something happened to these dikes here, like the water would be basically all the way up to the house, maybe more. It's pretty wild. There are a bunch of houses down there.